Good morning, sports fans. Richard Bliss Brooke here. Today we're going to talk about the heart of a champion. So most of you have probably heard about what I'm going to talk about in the context of an accountability partner. But at Bliss Business, instead of accountability partners, what we work with people on is the concept of a champion. And I want to explain the difference to you this morning and see if that provides some value for you in like building your business, anything you want to do, fitness, business, relationships. The idea is recruiting onto your team a champion. Now, in the accountability concept, which is a brilliant concept, I mean, it really works for a lot of people, it doesn't work for everybody. But the concept is simply that you set out what it is you want to do. And you set out your single daily action, like, okay, for the next 90 days, I'm going to, sell this much product or recruit this many people or advance in my business in these ways. And then you create a business plan and you boil that business plan all the way down to what you're going to do every day. And this is where an accountability partner has historically come in really handy. And what an accountability partner does is provide you a place to report every day whether you did your single daily action or you didn't do your single daily action. And just by the very nature of the word accountability partner, which I've used for decades, and until a few years ago when I had this like breakthrough about, hey, maybe the word accountability doesn't motivate people. So that, raise your hand. How many of you don't like being held accountable? Like the idea of even having an accountability partner does not motivate you, doesn't inspire you, doesn't make you feel good, doesn't make you want to report to that person, doesn't make you dive into the relationship with your accountability partner. How many of you don't like that? That would be me. I don't like being held accountable. So we came up with this concept a few years ago, which is just really a play on words, but also a play on the concept and what an accountability partner does. And we started calling accountability partners champions. And here's the difference between an accountability partner and a champion. So first of all, when you go to recruit historically accountability partner, you're just asking somebody to be a place where you can report every day. And then by the very nature of accountability partner, what that person is sort of, tends to do because maybe it's not well defined and because of the name accountability partner, is they tend to feel like their role as your accountability partner, if you don't do what you say you're going to do, if you don't do your daily invites or your daily prospecting or your daily workouts or your daily I love yous to your spouse, that their role is to inquire of you why not, and perhaps even sort of scold you about why not, and dig into perhaps the psychology of why not, and end up sort of maybe coaching you about why not. And for some people that works. And of course, in that case, it really depends on, does the accountability partner know anything about coaching? Are they an effective coach, or are they just like bull in a china closet kind of coach, which doesn't necessarily support you? So the concept of a champion is different. It's totally different. It's a different person than that you go recruit to be your champion. So by the nature of the word, first of all, what you're looking for in a champion is somebody that champions you. Somebody that's on fire about what you're doing, somebody that totally supports what you're doing, somebody that loves your goals, loves your ambition, loves your project, loves your business. They don't have to be in your business, but they respect and admire you and what you're up to. And they really, really want you to win. So that's the kind of person you go recruit as your champion. Now, how do you recruit a champion? Well, you just, look at your network, look at your circle of people that are relatively close to you and go down through the names and ask yourself, is this person my champion? Does this person love what I'm doing? No matter what I'm doing, is this person on my team in life? Are they on my team? Are they a cheerleader? Are they positive? Are they enthusiastic? Or are they a cynic? Are they negative? Do they like to be right all the time? You don't want people like that. You want people that just have pure heart, but they're also not a pushover. Because a champion does have a specific role. So you describe what the role is, and you just ask somebody, hey, will you be a place that I can report to every day? And you ask them, what's the best way for me to report to you? What do you like in communication? Do you like email? Do you like text? Do you like Facebook messaging? Do you like Marco Polos? Do you like, WeChats, or, all these different formats? Just ask them which one works best for you. And here's the deal. So what I'm going to do, for example, here's an example of a single daily action. Maybe your goal is to rank advance in the next 90 days. And your single daily action is just to invite 2 people. So let's say you're, kind of ambitious. You're going to invite 2 people every day to look at your opportunity, your products, the whole package. And so what you ask the champion to do is be a place. Can I report to you every day whether or not I did my 2 invites? And if I did more than 2 invites, I can tell you that. So it's just whether or not. It's a yes or no. Did my 2 invites, didn't do my 2 invites. I'm looking for a place to report. Now, why is that a powerful motivator for me? Well, it's really manipulating human nature that you and I are oftentimes more motivated to look good in the presence of people we respect and admire. We're more motivated to do that than we are to keep our word about what we said we're going to do. It's as simple as that. We have an epidemic in this country about people not keeping their word to each other, to themselves. And so when you set a goal and you create a business plan, you come up with your single daily action, and you say, I'm going to invite 2 people a day, and that's my promise to me, and I'm going to stick to it. 2 or 3 days later, we start negotiating with ourselves. Well, I couldn't do it today. And we let ourselves off the hook because we don't have a super powerful relationship with our word. So, but oftentimes what's more powerful for us is keeping our word to someone else and looking good to them. So we just asked the champion, will you be a place that I can report? And so here's the champion's job, and you gotta educate and coach the champion on, here's what I mean. Here's what I mean by champion. These are the rules of engagement. Let's have a partnership. Let's put it in writing. And I'll do it for you if you want to do the same thing, so we can be each other's champion for sure. Or it could be somebody not even in your business, totally unrelated. It could be that. But here's what a champion does. A champion accepts your daily report, did or didn't. It's not the champion's job to respond to you, yay, great job, like that, but they can. But, you don't necessarily need to impose that on their responsibility. Their job is to receive your report. And if your answer is no, I didn't, here's a real big distinction between a champion and an accountability partner. Accountability partners, because they just weren't well defined in the past, and because of the name, have tended to lend themselves to, okay, well, you didn't do your single daily action, so I'm going to find out why, and I'm going to make you wrong, and I'm going to coach you, and I'm going to guilt you into doing it, and that's all that bull in the china closet coaching, which does not work very well, and unless you're a really good coach, and then perhaps it works. But because the concept of a champion is you're not out looking for a coach. Coaches are really rare, effective coaches. You're just looking for somebody that loves and appreciates and respects you. And so you don't want to ask them to be your coach. You just want to ask them to be your champion. So they are a place where you report whether you did or you didn't. And here's the key distinction about a champion. A champion never asks you why you didn't. Never goes down that rabbit hole. Never makes you wrong, never provides guilt, never looks for the reason, never hears the story, the excuse, none of it. They never ask, and this is like a place you have to really coach your champion. They never listen. So part of the agreement between the coach or the champion and the client, if you will, is that you as the client, your promise is, I will never give you an excuse. I will never tell you a story. It doesn't matter what the story is. So, right over there, the big island of Hawaii is blowing up, and I suppose if I lived in that little town where, they're losing all of their homes and their possessions, I'd have a really good story about why I didn't invite a couple of people today. Totally legitimate, right? But part of this process is that the champion just never listens to the story. It's not that the champion doesn't care. It's in the nature of this concept. It doesn't matter, and there's no cheese down that tunnel of listening to a person's story. Because a story about why you didn't or a story about why you did, they all come from the same place. We make them up. So something happens, something happens to disrupt our life, our schedule, our priorities. Something happens, and then we make up a big story about why we use that to not do what we said we're going to do. We all do it. I do it. You do it. It's just part of the nature of the game. I mean, if we all did exactly what we said we were going to do, imagine what we would accomplish in our life. We'd all be skinny billionaires, right? So, and we'd all be married to our first love of our life, and we'd have, super healthy families and super healthy relationships and all of that. We just don't do what we say we're going to do. Our problem as human beings is not imagining what we want out of life. Our problem is doing every day what we need to do to get there. It's kind of like, if you decided I'm going to walk across the United States, that's my vision, that's my goal, I'm going to raise money or whatever, How do you do it? There's only one way you do it, and that's walk every day. And if you walk every day, will you eventually get to the other side of the United States? Absolutely. Even if you only walked 5 miles a day, you'd get there, right? So the challenge is, do we do it or not? And, you get up one morning and it's stormy or it's cold or it's snowing or it's 110 degrees in the desert and, your shoes, you lost your shoes. That's what happened today. And now you got a story about why I can't walk today because I don't have shoes, right? So that's what keeps people from accomplishing their goals, is just doing that single daily action. And, those of you that have studied my secret, not so secret formula for success in network marketing know that the secret is just inviting at least one. Eventually that'll lead to two probably, but at least one person a day to look at your whole opportunity. And if you just do that for 90 days, you will have done more in the last 90 days than 99.9% of the sales leaders in your company and every company worldwide. And that's why statistically network marketing doesn't work. It's not that the comp plans don't work or the products don't work or the model doesn't work or geometric progressions don't work or compounding doesn't work. It's not that the banking system doesn't work to pay you. It's not that the shipping systems don't work. It's not that the websites don't work. It's not that the management of the company doesn't work. It's that we don't work. We don't do what is required to build that ripple effect, that car over the hill effect, that getting your plane off the ground effect to build an empire in network marketing. And it is simple as just inviting one person a day. If you invited one person a day every day for a year, your 5th year in this business, it'd blow your mind how much money you'd make. So the champion concept is just an extra tool to give you a place to honor your word, to do what you say you're going to do, and to do it perhaps for someone else more than you would do it for you, which is really doing it for you because you want to look good to the champion. So the concept is really simple. I go recruit somebody, I tell them what the game is, I say, here's your role, here's my role, I'll do it for you on any project you want to do, or I'll buy you lunch at the end of the 90 days. They don't even have to respond to you. All they need to do is be a place where you report. Now here's the two things that happen when people start not doing what they say they're going to do. So this is another place for you to tell the champion, here's what I need you to do. And so let's say you're my champion and I'm the client and I'm telling you, so let's see, Tina. So the first thing I would tell the champion is, hey, here's the first thing that's going to happen when I start not doing what I say I'm going to do. Like the first time I might report, no, I didn't. The second time I might report, no, I didn't. The third time, you're not going to hear from me. The fourth time, you're not going to hear from me. The fifth time, you're not going to hear from me. I'm going to go MIA. I'm just going to go missing. And I'm going to create this whole story about how I got off track and I'm going to have to reboot and I don't even now have time to report. And we all know that's BS because what's going on is we look so bad that we don't even want to even report that we're bad. So we think hiding somehow cleans it all up. So what I'm telling you as a champion is that if you hear a no report, Like maybe my response is thank you. I mean, if the report is no, I didn't, my response as the champion is thank you. So here's what I want you to do when I report no, I didn't, champion. I just want you to respond thank you. I report no, I didn't again, champion. I want you to respond thank you. But if I go MIA, champion, my request is that you call me out, that you come and find me, that you email, you text me, you WeChat me, you whatever me, and you come and find me, and you call me out. And that doesn't mean ask me why I didn't report or why I didn't do what I say I didn't do. Here's the deal. We all know why. There's no cheese down the tunnel of why didn't you report, why didn't you say what you said, do what you said you're going to do. The reason is we just created a story that not doing it is more important today. So there's no point in even talking about that. Here's the thing a champion does, and the only thing a champion does around, let's say, accountability. The question, champion, I want to ask you to ask me when I get off track. This is the only question I want you to ask me is, will you tomorrow? Will you get back on track tomorrow? And so tomorrow I report, yes, I did. And then the next day I report, no, I didn't. Champion, here's how I want you to respond to the no, I didn't. Will you tomorrow? Will you tomorrow? Will you tomorrow? That's it. Nothing else. No psychoanalyzing why I didn't. No trying to motivate me. Just asking me to recommit. And in Bliss Business, you can find a lot of stuff around keeping stats. So I'm a huge, huge fan of me as the client keeping my stats. So if my commitment is to invite 2 people a day, what I need is a stat sheet that shows me every day whether I did and whether I didn't. And I also want to send that stat sheet to my champion. So my champion can keep track without them doing the work themselves. Okay, if I start in the 1st of May and my commitment is to invite 2 people a day, well, we need to look at how many days I didn't and how many days I did and how many days I didn't even report, because that stat tracker spreadsheet, that's the best coach you can have on the planet. I mean, that's the person that'll put the truth right in your face. Here's what you said you were going to do, and here's what you actually did. And if you want to be successful in whatever your ambition is, all you got to do is check all the boxes every day. It's kind of like, you know, if my vision was to walk across the United States and I walked 3 days in a row, and then I didn't walk, and then I walked a day, and then I didn't walk 2 days in a row, and then I walked 2 days, and then I didn't walk 3 days in a row, and then I turn around and walk backwards, like that would be the equivalent of not reporting. You know, am I ever going to accomplish my goal? Well, maybe, 10, 20 years from now. But, most of the things that we're up to, they have a timeline, they have a sense of urgency. If you're in network marketing, you don't have 7 years to get this done. You got 3 or 4 years to get this done. Because if you're in the business 7, 8, 9 years and you're not successful, well, that track record, that really eats on your self-esteem and your belief, and it eats on your credibility when you're talking to people. You need to be able to show people, hey, I got in May 1st, and here's my track record. Here's what I'm doing. And, of course, you can always restart. You can always reboot, and you can always tell that story to people. I got in 2 years ago. I got off track for 1.5 years, but the last 6 months, I'm back on track. But you can only do that so long. You can't do that 10 years. So here's the concept of a champion. I trust that is of value to you, no matter what it is you're doing. You're working on your relationship with your spouse. You're working on your fitness. You're working on any kind of business you're working on. Break your goal down all the way down to your single daily action. Go recruit a champion. Educate them. Make the requests. Give them the rules of engagement. Put it all in writing. Report to them every day. If the response, if you don't do what you said you're going to do, for them is, will you tomorrow? And if you go MIA, they come and find you. And throughout the whole process, you keep your stats. I promise you folks, if you add these structures to whatever it is you're doing, you won't be perfect. I mean, I'm lecturing you on it, and I don't want anybody tracking all the things I promise I'm going to do every day. but you will be light years ahead of people that don't do it. And that's our message for today, the heart of a champion.